Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic. And your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. And before we start off with today's video, I just want to say, thank you for the prayers and kind words. As many of you know, I had a situation. All I can say is it was a complete stranger acting in an ugly way. Well, even a threatening way. Either they were crazy, or a person with bad intent. However, I was able to navigate out of the situation, and did well in the situation, and was able to make sure conflict didn't happen. However, such things can make your energy go up sky high then crash down. And that is the last thing someone that is a narcissistic abuse survivor needs. But it happens. And it happened in this instance. I just had to make sure it didn't ruin my days and linger in my thoughts. So thank you for your kind words and prayers. I really do appreciate you. And this subject about momentum ties into what we are talking about. And that is how we were taught to lose on purpose by our narcissist parent or parents. And why this is so important for you to understand and figure out. You see, caring and even life-smart parents will not only make sure they teach their children empathy, or at least make sure they cultivate it in their children, but they also teach their children how to react to winning and losing. And in this process they build up what? Momentum. This is why you might have known someone that might have been super nice, and all of that, but they were just successful at everything they did. Now, not in all situations, but I believe in many of these situations. This trend in this person's life didn't just start 5 minutes ago or even last year. Likely their life-smart parent or parents understood that life can be harsh and even cruel. And they wanted their child or children to be prepared for such things. So when the wrong thing happens with something we are trying or working on, it won't blow us out of the water. To where we can't think. To where we won't procrastinate, and to where we won't second guess ourselves. You see, the secret formula to their success is they have an easier time moving forward than someone that grew up like many of us. Though they have lost before and have learned how to lose gracefully, they have won thousands and thousands of times. So taking on a new challenge is met with the mind thought of this is not only possible, but that it will happen, and it will happen in your or their favor. The best way I can explain it: we are triggered and trained to be triggered to think and feel negatively about most things we try or want to do. Because we've failed and failed and failed. Now, it doesn't mean our concerns aren't valid or real about something we are trying. However, these same thoughts can make us not even take step 1 or 2 for fear that we will fail. And I think we do this without even knowing we are doing it sometimes. Sometimes I think the fear or concern is overt. But oftentimes, I don't even think we feel it. It's just there. Because it's the only feeling we've ever known. And this is where creating new stimuli, positive stimuli and experiences in your life are extremely important. This is where we hear the saying, just set small goals and get some small wins under your belt. This is the reason why. Because you can literally change the way you think and operate if you are able to not self-doubt and self-sabotage the ability that you have deep inside, locked down deep. And that's where the narcissists in your life want to keep this wonderfulness that you have locked down deep and unable to come to the surface. You see, narcissist parents not only want to turn you into a loser, so they can get lifelong supply from you, but if they could not escape their problems and misery, They don't want you to either. Look. I've seen so many people in this narcissistic abuse community. And you all for the most part have something interesting and special about you. No matter it be a great personality trait or something you are not only good at but great at. And these are things that should propel you to a wonderful life. And again, the narcissists, they know this fact. They know. But they don't want you to know it. So they work on you and work on you and work on you. I remember when I was really young and I was literally failing school. And the teachers were so mean to me. I was always known as being very polite. I didn't act up in class. And was always courteous and kind and wanting help from my teachers. Now keep in mind. This is when I was in grade school. I did come across a teacher or two that was caring and kind. And actually tried to help me. But then the news would come. The teacher is now taking on a new profession and will no longer be teaching. Or they were moving away and getting married. Just right when I was getting in the groove of things at the age of 7, hoping this would be my chance to win. Something would happen and it would knock me back 10 pegs down. And I would end up with a mean teacher that enjoyed to watch me fail. And I thought about it as an adult. How could these grown adults get enjoyment at watching a helpless kid's life be wrecked? And to be an instrument in that wrecking. And like I mentioned, by the time I made it out of that neighborhood, and onto another school in a different neighborhood in junior high, the damage was already done. I was failing so bad. And this time the teachers weren't mean. They just thought I was lazy or stupid or both. Though I tried super hard. But this goes back to societal narcissism. Societal narcissists, in order to get the world they want, they have to make it so you are unable to do things you are directly connected with. Sound familiar? Maybe you liked to sing. Or you loved animals. And maybe you wanted to work with them. Or maybe you were good at fixing things and you wanted to work on jet airplanes one day. Do you realize these are indeed goals that are achievable? As many of you know, I really got inspired young with the Rocky movies. Because I felt his struggle and I felt his pain. But something I've come to understand about the Rocky movies. And this is a small snippet about what I've learned, as I want to do a proper video on the subject. But I think he not only created a situation around his own life struggles through the character of a boxer. Though Sylvester Stallone wasn't a boxer. But many of the hurtful things that were said and done to the character Rocky was really done to Sylvester Stallone in real life. But I think he created that entire scenario around wanting someone to just love him and help him. Through his rough yet joking exterior, he was in great pain. Great emotional pain. When you see the beginning of Rocky 1, and he's paid barely anything for a fight he just won. You see him stroll home to his dismal and dark apartment, with just his fish and turtles. And you see, without it being said, this is the aftermath of being narcissistically abused his entire life. This is life when you have failed out of school. No one believes in you. And no one cares. Not even your own parents. And here Rocky was going from one bad break to another. But I believe in Sylvester Stallone's imagination. He made it so this man Rocky, that God might shine a blessing and a chance for him to rise to the occasion and take a real chance at what he was good at. In the process, he ended up being loved by the best of the best woman in the world. Faithful, loyal, and kind. And his trainer that was rough around the edges eventually started to treat Rocky like his son. In Rocky 3, when Rocky is upset at Mickey for letting Rocky coast with fights that were hard but not too hard. After his life-changing tough fight with Apollo. So Rocky would eventually retire. Which didn't happen. Rocky retiring, that is. But when Rocky confronted Mickey about this matter, Mickey said, "The beating that you took from Apollo should have killed you. But it was my job to keep you winning and to keep you healthy. This is the job of the loving, responsible parent." Yes. Rocky knew how to lose. Boy did he know how to lose. But because winning wasn't normal for him. Though it happened on a massive scale. It wasn't built into his muscle memory yet. And he needed someone like Mick to make sure he was able to do so. Then later Apollo helping him. His wife Adrian. And even his grumpy brother-in-law Paulie. Even his son that eventually wasn't so on board with things. Simply put, Rocky shows how important love and help really is. Was it Rocky in the ring? Yes. But in the words of Adrian, all those beatings you took in the ring, I took them with you. And that is the key or the secret. Rocky was able to break free of narcissistic abuse and the dismal life he once had. And have the father he always wished for. The wife he always dreamed of. And with this love pushing him forward. The chance to show what he was really made of. Did you know that Sylvester Stallone was recommended by his school to have his parents take him to a specialist? To give him a test to see how dumb he was. And this so-called expert listed all of the non-thinking jobs that Stallone would be qualified to work for the rest of his life. Now just let that sink in. And this is what the societal narcissists want for you. And this is what your narcissist's parents want for you. A life with no connection to your talents and gifts. And you see it in Rocky too. The joy of what he's good at coming true. When he has the belt in his hand about ready to give his speech after winning. And he honestly says, aside from my kid being born, this is the greatest night in the history of my life. This is the greatest night in the history of my life. Let that sink in. I believe these were real words spoken from a lifelong broken-hearted Sylvester Stallone being treated as a dummy his entire life and not loved by his family. And never able to show what he's really made of. Now the beloved character he has created is now the champion of the world. And for a so-called dumb man, he created a genius scene that still makes the strongest person cry to this day. Yes. Round 14 in Rocky 1 changed my life and I believe God let me see that on purpose. But round 15 in Rocky 2 sent a strong message to me and blew me away as well. And that is to not stop and when your chance comes by. Metaphorically bite down on your mouthpiece and swing for the fences and don't stop swinging because this chance might not come back around again. Please do me a favor if you can. At the end of this video, please search on this platform Rocky Balboa's winning speech. And when you watch this, I believe you are hearing the words of a man. A man, though I don't know what type of man he is today. But I believe that speech is from Sylvester Stallone's heart of what he dreamed of his entire life. To no longer be the loser his family, his teachers and others told him he was and would be. But to have a loving family and to have that family proud of his success. During this short and touching speech, there are tiny pauses where you hear him weeping and crying. I do not think these are fake tears. Though I could be wrong. However, I think they are the same tears you and I have shed throughout our lives enduring the pain we've endured. And the shock and amazement we would feel and tears we would likely cry if we too made it to our goals. Though this speech is simple and short, please listen to the words. The weeping and the emotions around his words. And knowing how he grew up. Much like many of us. The speech makes sense. And that speech was in no way, shape or form the words of a loser or a dummy. And that is a speech many of us could have wrote or said just like he did. Because of the pain and life we have led. The message of today is to indeed try to build up the small wins and patterns of winning. And to not be afraid to win. Because when our chance comes by, we might not be shy and swing for the fences. Much like Rocky was able to do in Rocky 2. Please watch that clip. And I would like to know your thoughts on it. Let's talk. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.